Welcome, everybody, to the 12th episode of My Skeptical Sister.
I'm Megan, the skeptical one.
And I'm Erin, the believer. And we're back again.
We're rolling. Yeah, here we are. And
can't stop, won't stop.
That's right. Exactly. Everything is just, I want to say rocking and rolling again because I'm 80 years old. But, I feel like things are just like last week, I felt like lots of buzz around our little podcast.
Our numbers have never climbed so much. I mean, we're still not to 200, so we're still so tiny, but
so quickly. They just climbed so quickly that I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on?
Last time I checked, we had 179, I think.
Yeah, on our first normally episode that we just released on Friday.
Yeah, we have some that are still at 175.
Yeah, so I don't know about what it was about last week, but
yeah, you all tell us what makes you listen.
Yes, because why are some so high? Yeah, and then some are still like at 170 and haven't even made it to 200. It's interesting.
Although our lowest is now 175,
and our lowest is harangue, which is, in my opinion,
hilarious. I know,
one of the funniest.
I think it's because people don't know it's her.
Yeah, we should maybe go back and change the title. Oh, that's hilarious.
It's so funny when you read it, harangue, and you gotta. No, that's your reward. If you were like, well, I guess I'll listen to this, and then
you get the humor in there. That's right. Oh yes, because there's nothing funnier than when we totally bomb and make ourselves look like idiots. But
oh, that's right.
It's for your pleasure.
Yeah,
we do this welcome. For you. You're welcome. Well, I feel like we got a lot tonight, a lot to do. So I feel like we should just jump in.
We do. We've got really good. I know my stories are good. I don't know about yours. I'm sure they are.
Yeah, mine are. I mean, I always pick the really good ones. Really, she just picked for me, and I was like, okay, I'll do those, and they sound really good. Okay, so we decided we're doing like a, what do we say? Like a remembrance?
A review of all of a reflection.
A reflection of all of our, No, we have had amazing fans that some of them have written in multiple times, and then we'll tell you more. I'm like, write in more. You know, and I do that bothers me on podcasts when they say that and then they never go back and read.
I know. I'm like, just do it now.
Yeah. Give them all to me.
But our fans are better because they do.
They actually do. And so, so we've got some repeat authors that are writing in and they're good. They've always been good.
Every one of our stories is from a previous.
Everyone except for one that I might sneak in.
Oh, okay.
That I think would go well. It pairs nicely, like a fine wine and a
cheers
fish. Wine and fish do not go well together, but that's the only thing that popped in my mind.
Wine and fish. I think like a white wine. I think you're supposed to drink.
Or maybe cheese and fish don't go together. That sounds gross.
Yeah, that is gross.
I was like, I know there's something with fish you don't.
I was like, wait, no, cheese and wine definitely do, but then I realized you said cheese and fish.
Yeah, wine really goes with everything, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm never gonna turn it down.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. All right. So the first one that I'm gonna read is from Reby. And it's more about that scary haunted house on Eastern Parkway.
Oh, yay.
Yes.
Which she still has. Did she give you the address?
No, I wasn't even going to read this part. But since you asked, I will. She says, hey, it's me again with another story from my haunted childhood home. You asked for an address, thinking it is near where you live now. And while I don't feel it's appropriate...
She's like,
oh, right, fine, Reby. She's like, stalkers. Appropriate as it is no longer in the family. I have zero qualms about giving you a couple hints.
Oh, okay. But so don't give us those hints.
Okay, so I won't say those hints on the podcast.
Yeah, you tell me those hints.
Yeah.
You become a Patreon, we'll give you the hints. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. We don't have that set up yet.
We'll scout it out, find the address, and you can pay to have it.
And we'll all sneak in.
Oh, that's hilarious. So she says, beautiful home on Eastern Parkway that generally felt not scary, despite some absolutely paranormal happenings. And again, doesn't seem scary. And then she tells one of the most horrifying stories ever. I'm like,
yeah. Well,
I guess on the day to day.
Our little ghost Anthony, I'm not afraid of him anymore. He's like our buddy.
If your ghost Anthony did this, I'd be terrified of him.
Anthony's not scary anymore. It's just she's saying normally not scary.
Except for this. Okay. All right. So this dreamy home has, as many do, a basement. Partially finished. Oh man. My basement story just flashed in my mind.
Your basement story?
My basement story when I lived on Bel Air. If you don't remember it, I'm gonna have to tell it after this. Okay, so I say that like that because I'm like, oh, we have so much to do tonight, but I have to. It's a basement, and anyway. This dreamy home has, as many do, a basement, partially finished. When my family and I moved in, our Grams and Mom did what they could to fix it up, the basement to be a place for just the kids. They worked their asses off, painting a beautiful wooded scene and a mountainous range. I'm like, so sweet. Nice. Fairies, elves, like they're like...
Sounds like my murals.
Yeah. There you go.
I've done so many woods. I've done mountains now.
Yeah, you should do them for your own children, maybe, Mom.
I have done murals for my own children.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. That's right.
Butthole.
I was thinking like babies. I forgot about that they were babies. I meant like now for them to like play.
I've done one for Sophie, and she wants to paint over it. My pretty flower mural. Oh, now
that's she's a teen.
Derailed. Sorry.
Okay. All right. So fairies, elves, deer, and fish jumping in a lake. They put time and so much love into it. We also had a small jungle gym to climb and to play around. There was a large closet-type area that had been used as a coal chute.
Oh, wow.
That's scary. And was crudely finished for just over half the footprint of the house, I'd say.
Why is that scary?
Oh, a coal chute?
Yeah, I feel like that's like...
I think it would be creepy to have a coal chute in your play area.
Well, yeah, but I feel like old houses probably had something like that.
Yeah, and that would make it creepy because it's so old.
Okay.
There was
it's not like a body shoot or anything.
I'm sticking with it. It's creepy. It's old. It's creepy. It adds to it. I don't know. There was a rickety banister that shook and creaked. Oh, and a giant gaping hole to the left. Can I give me that?
Gaping hole sounds creepy.
Okay. Gaping hole to the left of the stairs that was a very strange and dark crawl space of sorts.
Oh,
over the years, it accumulated all manner of mess and junk, and a flashlight never quite seemed to reach the far side.
Oh, yeah. No, that's... I'll give you gaping hole for sure.
Okay, no one liked the basement. Not the adults, and certainly not the kids. The only chore at our home that afforded any kind of allowance was ironing laundry, because my mom and Grams just didn't feel comfortable down there. So, hey, why not pay the kids, right? Don't you love Graham and Mom?
Yeah.
They're like, you guys go down there and we'll pay you to do that. Needless to say, we never had iron clothes.
Same.
Yeah, same. Even money wasn't enough to get us down there for any length of time. One cold and rainy day, one of my sisters and I had been banished to the basement to stay dry and out of the way. They're like, it's creepy, but you still got to go down there. So down we went together to make the most of our unfortunate situation. I grabbed a beloved doll I had been given to amplify the fun. Boy, did that backfire. So my sister and I had been taking turns sliding down and climbing up the small slide attached to the jungle gym, over and over with the doll on our laps, being tossed back up and riding down again. I decided for no reason I can recall now that the doll needed to take a turn on her own. Down she goes and slumps predictably at the base, awaiting retrieval. My sister slides down next. As I head back to give Christina, the doll, a second go. It's so funny, her doll's name's Christina.
Wasn't that like an American Girl doll name?
Oh, maybe it was an American doll. I don't know. All my dolls were named Megan. That tells you anything. A bit narcissistic, and all with different spellings.
Oh.
Like M-E-G-H. One definitely was still spelled my way, but then the other ones, they
like
were all
your
Megan.
Favorite was spelled your way.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
That's hilarious.
Oh, that might be a lot of information for listeners who don't know me. Okay. With my sister still at the base, but in no way touching the jungle gym, I slid Christina down a second time. The same familiar slump. But this time, she straightens out and shifts to the side, looking up the slide to where I am waiting. My sister and I stop and stare at each other for what seemed like an hour before she finally asked me if I saw her move too.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, of course I did. And the doll slumped back down.
Oh my gosh. I don't like that at all. I don't like that.
Could you imagine? I leapt from the backside of the playhouse, and we both tear up the stairs back up to our safety net that is other living humans in a situation like this.
Huh.
We are told to avoid the basement, not met with disbelief. I never touched the doll again, not even years later when she was finally thrown out. I made someone else do it. Before she was done away with, Christina would randomly turn up in different locations through the main floor. She was always tossed back in the bowels of the basement with a rapidly shut door blocking the inevitable thud of her softly stuffed fallen body. Okay, let's make that thud happen in the dumpster. Why do we keep putting her back in the basement? Oh my gosh. Throw her out. Wow. Wasn't that a beautiful line though?
I know.
The writing.
They're all so good at writing.
I know, right? Which just makes us sound really good. But
yeah, thanks.
Until we get the words wrong. Okay. There have been a handful, but I felt like I did that. I nailed that, didn't I? There was lots of big words in that, and I did pretty good.
Read, while you were reading, I thought, you're doing
I may have read this 3 or 4 times.
Maybe that's the trick.
That's the trick. There it is. Okay. There have been a handful of occasions where this sister has brought up Christina, and I do remember that day. Yeah. And do you remember that day? Yes, of course, I remember. That is usually as far as the conversation goes. We both remember, and we are both uncomfortable by the lingering memory.
Oh,
I hope you enjoyed the story and can't wait for a bit of debunking this go round. There was none on my previous story. Surprised and a bit disappointed, to be honest.
Aw, snap. That's on you.
Called me out.
Because I believed it.
Here I am reading another one of your stories and calling me out. I'll see what other stories can be dug up from my beloved Highlands home. Cheers, Reedy. Whew.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to hear you debunk this.
Well, my debunking is just pretty... I mean, I think it's like what first went through my mind is that there's small children and the doll shifted like, gravity, just basic physics. The doll lands and then it just kind of, gravity.
Okay.
And then in their minds being little bitty, like, oh my gosh, that doll just moved on its own. When really, it had momentum. It had force. It was going down a slide.
No, I could give you that for the first initial slump and looking back, like maybe for some reason slumped slower than gravity should have allowed and that creeped them out. Don't really know why the laws of gravity would change for this story.
The laws of gravity are actually what made it shift more.
No, it sounds like it slumped over and then rolled back to look at them lazily. And then when they stared at it for a while in shock,
they moved the slide by accident.
Oh, Lord.
And it made the doll slump back
There's
over.
no way.
How rickety was the slide? I don't know. It seems like it might have been handmade.
No. Nope. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm going with that. That's my debunking, Rebe. Hope it's good enough. I'm just saying dolls don't mess with them, though. Dolls are creepy AF. Don't mess with them. So while I don't believe, I still don't mess with them. Like, no, I have a daughter and she better not like dolls because they're not coming in my house.
Yeah. My youngest loves dolls and my other girls are terrified of them.
Yeah. Thank goodness for them. Terrified. They need to influence her harder on that to get rid of all those dolls.
Yeah. I'm down for it. The dolls are very creepy. I don't know about that. That sounds really freaky. I can't agree with you. If it was rolled one way and stopped.
I mean, I think that a small shift in the, somebody accidentally jolts the slide and the doll rolls back. And then that's terrifying. That is something that could happen. That's not outside of the realm of things that could happen. Is one of them accidentally bumps the slide and it makes the doll move and they didn't notice that they actually bumped the slide.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't buy that.
Okay.
Well, it's really creepy.
I don't buy that a doll moved on its own. So even though dolls are scary, I don't like to be around them too much.
Oh, sorry. Our microphone almost fell.
They're not that scary, Aaron. There's not one right here, right now. My goodness.
Our microphone almost fell off the back of the couch. My dog adjusted. Sorry for the gas.
So good tonight, though.
I know.
So far. Well, okay. So let me tell you. Can I tell you my basement story? Oh my gosh, you're gonna remember it once I start talking.
Okay.
So my friend Audrey and I had gone to Thunder over Louisville. If you're not from Louisville, it's the kickoff to Derby. It's the biggest fireworks show in I think America.
They say the world. I don't know how much I believe it, but they say that.
But anyway, it's real big. It's real fun. She and I had gone to Thunder over Louisville, and I had just moved in to my new house, the first time I ever lived by myself in Louisville.
Oh, yes. Okay, I know your basement.
And so, but and it was a house that I was renting the first floor. And when the landlord was taking me, on a tour of the house, showing me everything I needed to know, he said, now down here is the cellar. And I was like, well, what's down there? And he was like, well, I mean, it's just a cellar, but I'll show it to you. He opened that, like, it was in the floor, and it was like this hatch that opened up because this house was old. He opens it up, and it's dark. He turns the light on. He shows me down there, and immediately I was like, oh no, well, what do I need to go down there for? He was like, well, really just if the lights ever went out. And I was like, well, I'd just call my dad because there's no way I'm going down there. So you don't
like dirt floor and everything, right?
Dirt floor, like rock walls. Like that's all I could see because I did not go down there.
Yeah.
And he was like, are you sure? Don't you think you should go down there at least see where the box is? And I was like, no, I will call my dad. It'll be fine. I said, just shut that back down there. I'm going to put a rug over it and pretend it never existed and I'm good. So, so I've been living there for like 2 weeks. I had never gone down there. So anyway, we, and there was a window to the basement. So we pull up front in the back of the house for her to drop me off. And the basement light is on. And I was like, Audrey, the basement light is on. And I have never been down there in the basement. Like, what in the world?
You've never seen it on before.
Never had seen it on before.
Yeah.
I had a rug over that hutch, or what is it called? That hatch. Yeah. I had a rug over it. Like I had not gone down there since he showed me it, it had not been open. So I start freaking out. I'm like, I think there might be somebody in my house. She's like, well, then don't go in there. But of course, you know me. I'm like, well, I got to check on Corley. I got to make sure she's okay. So I open the door and Corley
That's her dog, not a child.
Yeah. That's a good call. Let everybody know she was a little beagle. But I open the door and she comes running out, so I'm like, okay, so it's not,
Yeah.
she's acting normal. So I told Audrey, I said, look, I don't know what's going on. And I peeked in there, the rug seemed down, everything was cool. So I was like, I think I'm good, Audrey. I don't really know. It's an old house. Like I have no idea why that light would be on, but go ahead and go.
Yeah.
So she leaves. And then I put Corley on her like little lead. I go inside, I like wash my face, get ready for bed. And then I go to get Corley and the light is turned off. So now I'm like, oh, somebody is down there and they heard me looking around and they turned the light off to hide. So now I panic. So I call Audrey like in tears. I'm outside of the house now and it's cold. It's a little bit drizzly. I'm outside of the house. I've been drinking, so I couldn't really drive. So I call her. I'm like, Audrey, and I'm freaking out. And she's like, okay, I'll call Brad. Well, Brad owned the little dive bar that was right down the street, our like, favorite hangout. Her husband now, but boyfriend at the time. Well, he comes with like 5 patrons, like these guys, and they come like they had a crowbar, like they were a bat. They all brought some sort of weapon, and they were like big guys. And they all come in, and how like in a movie when somebody slaps somebody, that happened to me. I thought people don't get that hysterical. I was that hysterical.
Oh my gosh.
Then my friend Noogie, he grabbed me and like shook me, and I was like screaming and crying. It was like, somebody is in this house, and he smacked me in the face, and it made me laugh so hard. It took me right out of it. I laughed so hard, and I was like, Noogie, that was epic. That was like out of a movie. And he's like, okay, well, let's still keep checking the house. And I'm like,
this isn't
yeah, that's right. So they go throughout my whole house and check every closet. They check everywhere. They go down in that hutch. I go down with them.
Oh my gosh.
Hatch. What did you call it? A hutch? A
I
hutch
don't know.
is something.
No.
A hutch is something you put plates in, right?
Yeah.
Oh, a hatch. So I go down there with them, and we're looking around, and it looks creepy. And Brad was like, oh yeah, I know. I can see why you would never go down here, but there's nothing in this house. So I'm like, okay, well, that's really strange. And then they're all walking up. And as the last person's walking up, I just turn off the laundry room light, and it turned off the basement light down below. Oh my gosh. And then we all looked at each other, and I was like, sorry, guys. I was so embarrassed. I mean, I was hysterical. Like, I got slapped in the face. I was so freaking out. And yeah, I've been doing it the whole time myself, turning that light on and off.
This is when you became a skeptic, I think.
That's when it was, yes. So yeah, that was my basement story.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed it. I still laugh about that with some of those patrons when I run into them. Well, not COVID, not since this past year, but if I'll run into some of them, I'm like, oh man, remember that time you came and looked at my house and found me turning my light switch on and off and scaring the shit out of my own self. Too funny. But anyway, so we kind of talked about this before. I'm just getting mine all out of the way, and then you're going to go, okay? So this next one is from Stephanie, my BFF. I just love it. She and I feel like we became pen pals and
throughout this
podcast. Yeah, I didn't know her beforehand. She's a teacher in Kentucky.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
I think that we're going to have to get Stephanie to start making our merch.
Yes, because she is quite the artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing. Okay. My friend Kate is one of the sweetest, smartest people I know. She is also a hardcore believer. Hey, Erin. We'll have so much in common.
Yay.
And used to work with a nonprofit that had its main offices in a beautiful old home in a historic district in Lexington. Original hardwood, gorgeous banisters, and according to some, still home to some dearly departed tenants. In my friend group, I'm not known as the sweet one. I'm fairly no nonsense, a bit cynical and pragmatic. That's why Kate called me one afternoon and asked me to come sit with her in her office after hours. She had a deadline to meet, but she was afraid of being the lone beating heart there because of the ghosts she swore she'd heard thumping around after hours before. As she stated, I was the least likely to believe it, and also the least likely to be afraid. Her office, which was tucked into a turret in the upstairs of that old Victorian house, was small and cozy. We sat and chatted while she worked as the light of the afternoon dimmed to evening. After about 30 minutes, we heard a clinking sound downstairs, as though someone were putting away glassware. We both fell silent and just listened. Kate's eyes were huge, and she hissed, "See?" I nodded and said, "You want me to go check out downstairs?"
Oh, badass, Stephanie.
Right. And she shook her head fiercely. No. So we waited quietly for a few more seconds, just listening. Finally, Kate began tapping away at her keyboard again, and we resumed our conversation, albeit at a more subdued volume, which I always think that's funny. Like you feel like we don't want to bother the ghosts. But I've been in situations like, oh, we don't know what that is. We'll just be quieter. It didn't take long before we began hearing thumps directly below us, then traveling throughout the downstairs. I asked twice more if she'd like me to go see what was making the noises, but she declined. She was decidedly more frightened by the concept of me facing whatever was making the sound than by the idea of just sitting and waiting for whatever it was to find us. I disagreed, but wanted to be supportive and not freak her out even more. I bet there was a little part of Stephanie that was glad that Kate wouldn't let her. I mean, just a little. We might not ever admit it, but, as skeptics, we get a little scared sometimes too. Okay. Here was my breaking point. All the noises we'd heard thus far had sounded as though they were coming from downstairs. Much to our despair, they wouldn't stay downstairs.
Oh, no.
Eventually, we heard thumping, and then what sounded like someone violently shaking plastic sheeting just outside Kate's office door. She jumped and screamed. I jumped and said, "Okay, fuck this," and tore open the door beyond done with hiding. Just about 10 feet away from the door was the source of all the clatter. A very startled-looking man who was shaking a trash bag open so he could replace a full one in the hall.
No.
A custodian. It was a custodian. I began apologizing and laughing at the same time. He began laughing, maybe somewhat nervously as well. I closed the door and laughed so hard I couldn't stand up for a bit because I was afraid I would pee myself. Poor Kate had spent who knows how many evenings there, all on her own, being terrorized by a clueless but very much alive custodian.
Oh, no. Not even a ghost story.
I know. Well, she says, however, in all capital letters, the one noise we couldn't ever explain was the first one, the glass tinkling sound. We couldn't figure out what objects would have made the sound or why the custodian may have moved the mystery objects. So maybe there was a ghost there in that house, putting away ghost dishes or pouring a ghost drink, perhaps, but definitely not quite as sinister as Kate initially feared.
Oh
I
my
hope you enjoyed
gosh.
the story. It's one of my favorite memories with one of my favorite people. And then she says, Kentucky native folk art attached. Hopkinsville Goblin is all the way on the left. So she keeps giving me these articles, and I've been meaning to write her back and tell her that something's wrong with I can't open them up. So I'm going to have to go and search for them. But they're like of the cryptids of Kentucky.
Yeah.
And she did this artwork that I want hanging in my house. And so I'm going to ask her if we are allowed to like show it or tell her where to get it.
I bet we can. She's got a Etsy page.
She's awesome. So we're going to save her for the fan favorite for an episode coming up soon because it's your turn.
Yeah.
And we've already mentioned her a little bit, but she's coming.
Okay.
If not, maybe we'll just throw her in at the end, depending on how long it is. But anyway, isn't that great?
That is hilarious.
I mean, they just scared.
I know. I was like on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, and then to get to the bottom of it is so fun because we never get to the bottom of anything in these. And now it's like, oh, it was a custodian. Oh, and poor Kate. She had to have just been like me with the basement, like that look of like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, it's so cute.
That's hilarious.
And so I'm going to real quickly, I know I feel like I've been talking this whole episode, but it's going to be your turn.
Yeah, it'll be my turn soon.
Calm down. We will get to you.
Excuse me.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so my friend Dawn from college wrote in one that I thought kind of went well because that one got explained by a custodian in her office. But this is an office haunted story that is unexplainable. So,
okay.
I'm going to explain it to you because it isn't true, Dawn, but it is a little creepier.
Well, it's true because it happened to her. It might not be a ghost in your opinion.
There you go. Well, I mean, in science and facts, it's not a ghost.
Let's hear the story. Hear the story.
Okay. So she says, my office is haunted. I am the only, in all capital letters, person who goes into my office now. It's in Cadiz, Kentucky. We shut down the office due to COVID. I go in a couple times per week to pick up payments and such. I went in Friday and went to the morgue. That's what they call it. This is what we call the back room that houses all the past newspaper copies. Maybe pick a brighter name. The door, like maybe the retired newspaper. Hey, what are they got to be? The morgue. The door that is always open was shut. I've worked there for 7 years, and that door always stays open. Needless to say, I got done what needed to be done and left quickly. Other things noticed. I was working by myself a few years ago. We had a radio on, and it turned up by itself. That can be creepy.
That's like a spirit box, kind of.
Yeah.
Usually changes channels.
Mm-hmm. I walked up, and that ghost just loved that song.
Like, this is my jam.
I'll get it, Lizzo. I mean, what was playing? Because if it was Lizzo, I get it.
Yeah,
I mean, that would prove it.
That would bring me back from the dead to get my groove on.
Man, we really talk about Lizzo a lot.
But she really is my favorite.
She is, yeah. She's okay. I walked over and turned it down, only to have it turn back up.
Oh, it was like, bitch,
yeah.
Please.
Yeah. I said, I'm listening to this song. So I
be clearer?
Yeah. Well, she says, so I ripped the cord out of the wall quickly. She doesn't talk about it coming back on, but yeah, Dawn's like, I'm going to win this battle. Dawn is a little sassy, but I love it. While enjoying a bathroom break, again by myself, and I love that, enjoying a bathroom break.
Oh my gosh.
What you're doing in there. But
at my last job that I hated so much, I went to the bathroom all the time.
Yeah, you're like,
I just sit there on my phone. Like, oh, yeah, no, I'm going to the bathroom. Leave me alone. Like, how rude.
This is my quiet time. That's funny.
This was pre-teacher.
Yeah, right. Because as a teacher, you
don't
never
have
get to go to the bathroom, right? Good luck. While enjoying a bathroom break, again by myself, a shadow crossed in front of the door. Luckily, I was in a good place to pee myself. That's a great line. The front door also opens randomly. No one near it, just opens. No wind, nothing.
Ooh.
Right? I'll hear noises coming from the back.
Wait a minute. Is it like a push door, do you think? Or like an automatic slide door?
I don't know.
Because that would make a difference in my belief.
Yeah, that's a good, we'll have to ask her. She'll have to give us an update. I'll hear noises coming from the back of the office constantly. This place is creepy. So it was just a quick little one, but I was like, oh, that's like the office one, but this one kind of goes along with not being able to explain.
Yeah.
Except for that, okay. Here's what I'm going to say. Oh, gosh, you're there by yourself that you know of. There could be a squatter. Sorry, that's even scarier than a ghost, Dawn.
That is scarier than a ghost.
Maybe have your husband go through and really check that place out. I mean, seriously.
Why does she need her husband? Could she not get another friend there?
Okay,
look who's being the sexist one this week.
I'm just saying, because if I called you up, would you go in?
If I thought you were in danger, I would.
You would end up
being the more aggressive one, but I would be there for you.
I wouldn't call you up. I'd be like, I'm going in. If I don't come out, call somebody with a crowbar to come in and get me.
Right, but I would be there for moral support.
Yeah, you'd be
as a witness
for moral support. Yeah, there you go, as a witness. But yeah, I mean, seriously though, Dawn, that's
what about
crazy
the radio?
Things have happened.
They're listening to the radio, and that goes up
again. I've said this: electrical things do not mean anything to me because they're so easily haywired. Like something that it could just have a short, and it just, the volume control has a short. So for me, anything electrical, it's already debunked itself.
When I worked at 4-H camp, we would, like, on the weekends, we would go down and just hang out at the main office, which was down the hill from the rec hall, which was where I taught. I was the recreation leader. And there was a closet that had, like, that's where you turn all the lights on, and that's where you turn on all the electrical stuff was inside a locked closet. And all the staff had keys, but all the staff were down there on the weekend. And occasionally all of the lights at the rec center would turn on, and the music would start blaring. And we would have to walk up there as a group. I was like, we're not doing this. You're also not leaving me. What if this is a trap?
Right.
So we would all go up, unlock it because it was still locked.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Turn off the lights and turn off the music.
Yeah, that's creepy because it reminds me of like something in like a murder scene. Like you said, like it's a trap. Well, it's also like Freddy Krueger and you're at camp.
Yeah. I'm glad you're telling me it feels like a murder scene now that I'm done.
Yeah. You won't. Let's not go back to that place and be a camp counselor anymore.
I'm totally sending my kids this summer if COVID
okay, we'll
allows.
tell them if that happens, just don't go up there. It's not their responsibility.
Sophie is gonna listen to this, so it's a different camp, Sophie. It's not the camp you're going to.
No, not at all. Not at all. Oh, that's Camp Piamingo. You're good, girls.
We're gonna get sued by Camp Piamingo.
It's
just a real camp.
Oh, it is a real camp. I'm at Piamingo. I'm just going to pronounce it.
Camp Piamingo is the one that they made me pretend to be an otter. And
you've got to tell that story because, oh my gosh, you all. Erin told the story for the first time. I've known this woman for 36 years? Like, how old are you? 36 years, and she drops this story on us during euchre with our family. And I was like, this is the weirdest story I have ever heard. Go.
Okay. So
tell it.
We were a bunch of little 8-year-olds or younger. I don't know. We were young. And we went down to the lake. We had to bring our lunches down to the lake, which I remember thinking was weird. And they said that otters will lay on their back in the lake and eat their food off of their stomach. So we practiced floating on our back.
You did not.
And then they gave us those little boards, those little floaty boards.
Yes.
And we had to balance it on our stomach, and then we had to swim up to the dock.
So I hope all of you out there are picturing this like I am, because oh my gosh,
we have a lot of Kentucky listeners. I hope somebody confirms this.
This is like, I feel like you may have dreamt this.
I didn't realize how weird it was until I told you all, and then I was like, it was weird.
This is so weird. Like, imagine the counselors like sitting on the dock like, look what we got them to do.
Oh yeah. So I remember it was horrible because all of my food got so wet.
It sounds like you're gonna drown.
Food got all wet. But I floated on my back, belly up, with a board and my little sandwich and like
peanut butter sandwich is like
probably like Fritos or something, trying to eat those while
awful.
Floated.
And you're like, first of all, laying down and eating, that's such a choke hazard. Oh, and you're in the water. I mean, you choke, you die. You're in the water. Oh my gosh, those counselors. Whoever, I want to be a fly on the wall at whatever counselor meeting that idea popped up,
Oh my
because I
gosh.
guarantee you they were dying laughing. Like, could you imagine watching these kids? And they duped you all.
Yeah,
Oh.
I feel like we might need to bleep the name of this
You might need to
place.
sue them all. Bleep them. No, sue them. Oh,
my
my
gosh.
gosh, that's so funny. Whew, that's
Okay,
hilarious.
if the fine people of Camp Flamingo hear this and want to sue us, then we will take it off the air. But we have no money. You can have our.
Oh, you can have the $15 that we have.
It's up to $26.
Girl, don't quit telling our amount. Eventually, they really don't want our money.
I mean, it's $15, Flamingo.
That's right. Oh, that's so funny. Listen, Piamingo, you owe her at least $26. You owe her at least a peanut butter sandwich and some Fritos, because that is, oh my gosh, that story. And you told that like it was just nothing. Like, this is the weirdest thing I have ever heard.
It just felt like something you're supposed to do at camp.
No, it is definitely not anything you're supposed to do ever. Like, pretend to be an otter and eat upside down in the water. Oh my gosh, I'm dying. That is the funniest image. Okay, I'm so glad. I don't know how we got there.
Oh, I don't remember either. I know we were talking about.
Doesn't matter, but I'm sure glad we got there, because I forgot that story and it needed to be told to more than just our family.
Oh gosh, that is really funny.
Man.
Okay, all right. So I have an exciting development. I really tried to keep it a secret, but it didn't work because I got told on. But so we have our Instagram set up. If you don't know about it, it's called My Skeptical. Just search My Skeptical Sister and you'll find us. I did realize that I should have put the word podcast in there so people see us and go, oh, it's a podcast. So I've added it to our little picture.
Oh, cool.
But I got a message that said, Kyle wants to send you a message. So I just figured, again?
Oh, golly,
Look at these
men flocking to.
That wasn't it at all.
Oh, okay.
Ego busted. But no, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, Kevin. I love you. I'm not ever.
Yeah,
I'm really not ever wanting. I made it sound like
that's
I am wanting. I'm not.
This was not an invitation.
Boy, this got real weird real fast. Okay, so anyways, I was like, oh, I have to approve a message on Instagram. I didn't even know I had to do that. But I got a message from Kyle that says, my name is Kyle. My sister Meg wrote in your show on the Bippity Boppity Boo episode.
I am so excited about this.
I know.
Because we begged for him to write in.
Yes, this was episode 3. I re-listened to parts of it today so that I could kind of get refreshed on it. So that was the episode. They were growing up in Michigan on like the coolest farm ever. And together, her and her little brother Kyle went into the woods and they saw this creature that stood up on 2 legs.
It was bipedal.
Yes.
But we mispronounced it and said bipedal.
Bipedal.
As in we,
and by
I mean
we,
me.
I mean
me. I mean me. I
Because
did.
as soon as
I did it.
you spelled it, I was like, oh, no. That's not what that is. That's
whatever.
One of the rare times we caught it before. Okay.
No, we didn't. We did not catch it till after.
No, we did. We caught it.
We did
said, are
not,
you sure it's not
catch it right during the... No, we didn't. Go back and listen.
Okay.
We totally let it go by. And then afterwards, we were talking about like how smart Meg was.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, oh, she even used the word bipedal. Yeah, what was that word? And then I spelled it. And you're like, oh, Megan, that's bipedal.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Oh, man. Anyway.
But then even more correction. I think it's bipedal, and I think it's bipedal.
See? Mm-hmm. We're both wrong.
It's better than bipedal, but there you go. So anyways, we had said, man, we want your little brother to write in and tell his side of the story, because what does he remember?
Because in her story, she said, like, they don't really talk about it.
Right.
So we're like, well, now is the time. Talk about it. You're adults, and let's find out.
Right. So here is Kyle.
Love it.
And he confirms her story and then tells a little bit of his own other story from that same summer.
Nice.
And this one is a quickie. So the story my sister tells is 100% true. Can't make this stuff up. There was a time in the late summer where I heard something. My bedroom window was facing the infamous woods where me and my sister's tale takes place. Our father worked full time, so he had to leave rather early. Every morning, I was woken up by the sound of his old 1980s Mercedes-Benz diesel sedan. Every morning, like clockwork, at 5:45, the rumbling sound of the car left the driveway and faded into nothing. This one particular morning, I couldn't fall back asleep, almost like something was keeping me up. With my windows open, I could hear nature waking up with the sun. But before the sun came up, I heard something. It was footsteps, approaching footsteps, getting louder by the second, slow and heavy. They walked past my window and into the backyard where the chickens were. A few minutes later, I started to hear them again. I get chills to this day thinking about it. Louder and louder these steps got until they got to my bedroom window. Cowering under my blanket with my trusted stuffed black lab Scout,
Aw.
I called out to the pair of feet hopping. No. I Sorry. Read that wrong.
Hoping. Oh my gosh.
So cute. Can you imagine Bigfoot?
I got bipedal wrong. You got hoping wrong.
Picture him.
Oh, yeah, just hop.
So cute. Cowering under my blanket with my trusted stuffed black lab Scott, I called out to the pair of feet, hoping, praying it was my dad just checking in on something. Dad, is that you? Dad? Dad? The footsteps stopped. And a loud, deep grunt, came outside my bedroom window. All that happened next was the sound of the footsteps entering the woods. Frozen in fear, I stayed in my bed until my mom came to get me up for breakfast and morning chores.
Okay, no need to debunk. That was a Sasquatch. Right. Yeah, I'm right back 100%. I'm with you, Kyle. That happened. It was a Sasquatch.
Right. Because, I mean, footsteps, it didn't sound like shuffling footsteps.
No, it's like heavy footsteps.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Sasquatch.
Bipedal footsteps.
You got visited by a Sasquatch. That's amazing.
Yes. This was around the time that the story from his sister had written in. Mm-hmm. This was around that time. We still discuss it sometimes, but it's really more of a, did that really happen? Okay, let's never talk about it again. We'll take it to our graves.
Wow.
So, yeah. So it was a little quick one, but interesting that he
Yes,
confirmed.
I love the follow-up. It's confirmed. You all had a Sasquatch living on your land.
I know. And when I, because I'm nosy Nelly, I was like, well, I'm just going to Facebook stalk for a minute.
Well,
and
sure.
There's a picture of Kyle in Louisville.
Kyle?
I know. He's in front of 4th Street Live. Yeah. And I said, oh my gosh, I was stalking you. And look, you're in Louisville. And he said,
I love that you told him I was stalking you.
He said, Louisville's one of my favorite towns.
Dude, we will totally get a beer.
I know.
If you want. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm forcing you. But bring Meg. We'll all go out. That'd be great.
Oh, it would be so fun. It would be so fun. And his fiance, she's in the picture too. So he definitely was not coming on to either.
I wasn't even thinking he was. You're such a dork.
I know.
Oh, that's hilarious. You're like, no. This is for sure. He's got a fiance. Therefore, it's totally fine if we go and have a beer with him. You're such a dork. Oh, love it. Okay. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I'm so glad he wrote in. I'm so glad. That makes my day.
Me too. I know. I really love it. Well, but the surprise got ruined because Meg reached out to you to see if she reached out to us.
I mean,
see.
No, she did. She messaged both of us on the same.
But she put the wrong Aaron on there.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious.
So I didn't know.
It was I guess, one of her friends, but it was an Aaron that was not you. And I kept thinking, why isn't Aaron responding? Like she's kind of being rude, but whatever. And so I just kept responding, and then finally, this girl Aaron, she's like, "Hello, dear. I don't think that you meant to put me on here." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. That's the wrong Aaron."
Because you responded, you were like, "It's the surprise that Meg's brother wrote in because she just sent me a message." And I was like, "Why did she send you a message?"
Yeah, no, she was trying to send it to both of us. Oh, that was a funny little mishap. But
okay, so from that, I guess it spawned Meg to write in again.
Ooh.
So this is our what do we call it? Review.
Our
reflection.
We need a better name.
Reflection. Okay. Anyways, Meg is writing in.
Girl, let it out. That was a loud snore.
I know. I kept thinking she was snoring during that story, but I was like, it's only adding
it's a grunt.
To it.
Oh, I think she just farted too. No. She really let it out that last one.
Ooh, I'm so sorry.
Okay, move on.
Okay. All right. So Meg writes us again, who has just recently. Because we became friends.
Congratulations
Meg. On your engagement, Meg. That's so exciting. Oh, man.
Oh, we're
sorry.
dorks.
We're sisters. Yep. It happens. All right, so hello again. Okay, so I have 2 stories this time. One for Aaron and one for Megan.
Okay.
Although based off the psychics episode of last week, I think Megan will have a theory about my story for Aaron.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so story 1 for Megan. When I was in 8th grade, I would have to get up at about 5:30 a.m. for the bus. We lived so far out from the school that I was the first stop in the morning at 6:20 a.m.
I said that I thought it was a really cool childhood.
Yeah, no, that sounds awful.
Then that. No. Oh, that's awful.
If we go back to school, that's going to be Sophie's life because middle school is so early here. My bedroom sat on the northeast corner of the house. There were 2 large windows, one facing the front yard and road, and the other toward the vast expanse of woods that began on the east side of the house. So one morning, I am doing my thing, flat ironing my hair so that my bangs fell in the most angsty teen way possible across my eyes.
Love it.
Heavy eyeliner, ash gray, not black, because my mom said, you're too young for black eyeliner, but I'll get you gray.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which reminds me of when I stopped wearing eyeliner when I was like 18, just because I was broke and I didn't have money for it. And mom asked me what was wrong with me. And then 3 days later, she gave me money to buy eyeliner.
She's like, you need this, girl.
So, ouch.
Kind of opposite.
There are my insecurity issues bundled up for you nicely. Okay, now I am not a cat person, really quick. But if I had a cat with this name, I would love that cat so much.
Okay. Is it a Harry Potter name?
No. My cat, Milkshake.
Oh, it brings all the boys to the yard.
Brings all the Sasquatches to the yard.
That it sure does.
My cat, Milkshake, was loafing on the bed when his head turned quickly toward the window facing the woods. His pupils dilated, his breathing quickened, and the hair on the back of his neck slowly stood up.
Ooh.
It was then I realized I couldn't hear the peepers.
Ah, those are frogs. Beep, beep, beep. We know that now.
And songbirds. It was still dark, and there was a very lean moon hanging. Lean moon, is that right? Lean moon hanging low above the tree line. Then a bone-chilling scream pierced the silence outside my window. Long, unnatural, high-pitched, much like that.
A squatch.
Much like what you would expect to hear from a human woman in distress.
A woman squatch. It was a female squatch.
Oh,
go on.
Adorable. But scary.
Yeah. Or in distress. A female
no.
squatch in distress. Not adorable.
No, not
adorable.
Your mind sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry. I regret it all.
I regret it all.
Okay, my heart was racing as I glanced at the clock and ran through my options. It was 6 a.m. I needed to start making my way to the bus, but someone could be getting stabbed.
Yeah.
I could die. Okay. Think, Megan. Well, my dad would be pissed if I got him up and I had missed the bus, which I'm like, but somebody might be dying.
Right.
He hated having to drop me off. Never mind. It was literally right on the way to work.
There's those teenage angst bangs talking.
Those bangs were working. So that option was a no-go. If I called the cops, they would think I had been a teen prankster. Plus, I was surrounded by miles and miles of woods. Even if they believed me and came out, it could be hours of searching. Oh. The scream came again.
Oh, yeah. If it comes again, you call.
Yeah. Or wake up a parent.
Yeah, do something at that point.
Longer, higher pitched, making all of the hairs on my body stand up. 6:07 a.m. What should I do? I needed to have my shoes on and be out the door in 3 minutes if I was going to make the bus. Slowly, I pulled on my shoes and I tied my laces, and the scream came again.
No, Meg, do not go out there.
There was no flipping way my dad would believe me that I heard screams, and I was too scared to walk to the bus. Oh, and that I was too scared to walk to the bus. So I grabbed my sweater, my backpack,
Meg.
And I headed
sick. You play sick.
And I headed out the door. Milkshake seemed to look at me as if to say, "Nice knowing you, kid."
Oh, as little shitty cats do, don't they?
Right.
If you don't beg you, they're like, "Well, see you later."
Yeah. If you're a cat lover, don't drop us, but whatever. Don't let us cat sit either.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. We appreciate them from afar.
Listen to this next part. My breath was rapid and shallow as I walked down the sloping hill. She did
Meg.
it. She's going to this bus stop.
Oh, Meg.
I know. I turned left and walked the half mile to the corner bus stop, walking like a mall exercising grandma.
Oh, I bet.
Is as if that would save me from a serial murderer. I managed to catch my bus without incident and felt my heart rate slow as I took my spot on the stiff green seats. Okay, so this is where I give you a minute to pause and speculate because I do know what caused the bone-chilling scream.
Oh my gosh.
Jeopardy music.
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited.
Female
Female swatch. I'm going with
that's
my
for sure
final
your answer. She has confirmation of what it is.
Yes, and I think that after Kyle's story, this must be a female swatch.
Okay, all right.
Maybe, in heat.
Okay.
She's excited.
Final answer. All right. When I came back from school that day, my mom was sitting in the living room bouncing the baby she was watching on her knee and asked me how my day was. I hesitated, debating on if I should tell her about the eerie screams I had heard before going to the bus that morning, or at least how to tell her without sounding like I had been watching too much CSI or ID Discovery. I managed to tell her that I had heard something and I didn't know what it was. My mom, bless her, being the smart lady she is, decided to get on the World Wide Web and help me figure out what it was. We hopped onto our giant computer and booted up the dial tones.
Oh.
My mom started asking me what it sounded like. She assumed it was an animal and brought up a website hosted by the DNR service that had recordings of animal sounds. We started with big cats local to the area. As we rolled through the first few, I knew that wasn't it. Those cats made more chirping and meowing sounds. Then we hit play on a noise clip that I knew was it. Mom, that one, I said. She looked at me and asked if I was sure. I was 110% sure. Ready? Drum roll, please. A puma concolor.
Concolor. Look, she slipped in another word. It's going to mess us up, Meg.
I know. Bipedal, bipedal.
Right.
A type of cougar.
Oh, that's so scary. She still could have gotten eaten.
I know. I'm like, you were walking.
Meg, I hope your mom scolded you because I'm going to wake up your dad. I don't care how mad he is.
Yeah,
that's on him. That's bad parenting. Although I would be kind of the same way. I'm like, are you kidding me? Until you heard the scream too, and then you're like, oh, fine. I don't want you to get eaten.
Oh my gosh, I know. After I read that, I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe you walked to the bus stop. That's so scary.
Ugh.
So it's like a cougar, mountain lion, one big ass cat, the fourth biggest cat species that can grow between 7 and 10 feet long and 2 to 3 feet tall. They average 175 to 200 pounds and do not have the vocal cord structure to roar like other big cats. Instead, they are known for a human-like, unnatural scream. If you've never heard it before, enjoy. And now we're going to hear it.
No.
Yeah, she put a link to it.
Oh, she's so cool.
I know.
Is your phone all the way in?
Here it is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is the scariest thing I've ever heard.
I know. Oh, it's freaking Ellie out. Oh, and it's a 2-minute clip. We're not going to
Meg, I cannot believe you heard that 3 times and went outside.
I know.
She's the bravest person I know.
100%. There is no way I would go.
Oh my gosh, that's horrifying.
I know. And
I would not think that's an animal. That does not sound like an animal. That sounds like a horror movie.
Yeah, right?
Oh my gosh, Meg.
Like a woman being
dying.
Chased.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you are brave, girl.
I know. Oh my gosh, I know. Okay, so I like how you had a story that was clearly not a ghost, and so did I, but she's got a story now for me.
Okay, I love it.
So, story 2 for Erin. Okay, I didn't realize that first story would be so long. My bad.
We loved every second of it.
That's right. This one is quicker. So a few years before the cougar incident, I was trying to fall asleep. It was late at night and the rest of the house was quiet. Slowly, I realized that it felt like a dark blanket had been thrown over us. The silence was almost deafening. The darkness was oppressive. There was a weight pressing on my chest. A chill overtook me to the point where my teeth felt like they were chattering, and I tried to wrap myself up more in the blanket burrito. My breathing became shallow and fast, and I strained against the darkness, listening for anything normal. The cats, my sister getting up for water, anything. Suddenly, Megan. I know. It's all in caps when she wrote it. Loud, clear, an adult's voice I did not recognize, right in my ear.
Ooh.
I sat upright, expecting someone to be there. Maybe there was an emergency, but there was nothing. I turned on my bedside lamp. My cat Milk blinked at me from the doorway to the closet. I could hear the hum of the fridge, the trees rustling in the springtime breeze outside my window. There was nothing. Somehow, I managed to settle my breathing and drift to sleep. This in particular has stuck with me over the years because of the voice, so close to my ear as if someone had stood over me, leaned in, and barked into my ear. The tone, it was not my parents or any other adult I regularly came in contact with. I can't pin it as either male or female, but it just stuck. Free real estate in my brain goes to that tone, goes to the tone of that voice. If you have any ideas, let me know. In fellow spooky spirit.
Oh, girl, that's a good one. And again, I forgot how much I love her writing.
I know.
Free real estate. Come on, Meg. You need to be an author. I mean, come on. That is awesome. I'm going to go with the old trusty sleep paralysis.
Oh, I don't know.
Sleep paralysis, her body, like feeling the heaviness. Even her teeth felt it. Like, I mean, that's like, if you've never felt sleep paralysis, it's unlike anything I've ever experienced. And it's wild. So that's what I'm going to go with. And then again, your brain is searching to explain something to shake yourself out of it. So I don't know. The brain it'll do some funky things.
Yeah, it is really creepy. It made me think of when I was at my school back when I used to be able to go into the building. And my school building is super old.
Yeah.
And a little spooky. We've had a couple things happen in my art room that have been a little weird that we can kind of talk ourselves out of because it's an old building. But one morning before it was early in the morning, there weren't a lot of people there. My daughter was putting chairs down for me. And I was in the supply closet taking things off the drying rack. And I heard, clear as day, what surprised me was that it felt like it was closer because I knew she was out. I could hear her doing the chairs, but it sounded like someone's like right behind me went, "Mommy," aggressively, like an aggressive whisper. And I went, "What?" I turned around and she wasn't right there. So I peeked my head out and I said, "What?" I wasn't scared. And she said, her eyes were like saucers. And she goes, "I didn't say that."
She heard it too. And
she was so scared. I was like, "What did you hear?" And she said, "I heard Mommy, but I didn't say that."
Oh, that's creepy. I don't know that you've ever told me that.
Well, then you're welcome. I was saving it in case we ever got a podcast.
Right. Yes. Good call. Okay. My debunking on that is you're in a building full of kids.
There were no kids there yet.
I know that you know of. I mean, have you never read the book Junie B. Jones? She hides in the school. I'm just saying.
I've never read that.
Oh, you should. It's hilarious. But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Was it one of my kids? They called me Mommy. No, I've been called Mommy by kids before.
Yeah. Like she and then she was so embarrassed she didn't want to come out of hiding to tell you it was. Because they get so embarrassed when they call you Mom by accident. It's so cute. It's like, it's okay. You called me Mom. But they're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just called Miss Mattingly Mom." Oh, it's so funny. Man, we had a good night tonight.
I know. This is a good one. I like this one a lot.
I do too. I just feel like the stories were on fire. And that was great.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to our story. Oh, we've got a fan.
Yeah. Don't forget your fan
I won't
favorite.
Forget my fan. So our new segment, do we have a name for it?
Fan favorite.
Okay, so
I just now named it. How do you like that?
I love it. Okay, so our fan favorite this week, it's my week to choose. And I do seem a little bit biased when I pick this. I promise next time I pick one, it'll be a complete stranger. But one of my best friends in the world, Jewel.
You call her your sister wife.
I do call her my sister wife. My husband and her fiance are very accepting of this. Now they're both my sister wives. Yeah. Kevin just now it's like a brothel or something. That's not what it's called.
He's got a lot going on.
Yeah. He's like, "How are the sister wives?" And we're like, "Oh, we're good." But my friend Jewel, her mom. Okay, so Jewel's a chicken and will not listen to this podcast.
Yeah,
never.
Yeah, I figured she nor her fiance are listening to it because they're both terrified of ghost stories.
Right. But not Jewel's mom, and her real name is Jill, but not Jill's mom, Judy Kaufman.
She's not afraid of. You kept saying not Jules' mom. I'm like, it is her mom.
Yeah, no,
she's not afraid.
Judy is not afraid of ghosts and loves our podcast. I think she might be our biggest fan. So I've known her since I was in high school with Jewel, and we call her Juju all the time. And she sent a message the other day that was like, I am loving your podcast. I can't stop listening to it. I really want to leave you a review, but I don't know how.
Oh, bless her heart.
So I was like, well, that's very nice. I'll show you how if you really want to know. And she's like, yes, I want to know. So I like screenshot, you go here and then you do this and you click here. And so she left us a really sweet review. She even said, back from our, what the heck is an egg tooth episode?
Yeah.
We talked about that inn, the Ashbrook Inn. Is that right?
Yeah.
She was like, oh my gosh, my cousin used to work there. I'll see if they've got any questions. So she's like reaching out to try to get stories for us.
Do it.
Yeah. She left us a wonderful review. And she's so cute. She wrote today, Erin in all caps. She was like, I am binging your episodes. I love it. I'm going to start stalking you guys. You're not going to be able to get away from me. And I think she's just so cute.
Yeah.
So I sent a message today asking her, is there anything that we can plug for you? And she is an awesome artist and does these really cute.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she does awesome. Well, you've got one.
I did know. Well, I guess, yeah.
That little, she like paints.
I guess I didn't realize she did this to sell. I just thought it was like a little craft she had done.
Yeah, she's got an Etsy
they're
page.
So cute. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a great painter and she does these little crafts. Her house for Halloween, we always end up going. Well, we didn't this year, but we always end up going during the day because she lives out like where she doesn't get trick-or-treaters, but Halloween is her favorite.
Yeah.
And her house is full of little witches everywhere at Halloween.
How cool.
So, and she looks like Mrs. Claus.
Yeah.
She's like the cutest little woman. I love her to death. So anyways, her Etsy page, she actually has two. So she must sell two different things. But Judy P. Flynn, which is JUDIPFLYNN, or Benny J and Co. BENNYJANDCO are her two Etsy shops. So
nice.
If you want to look at her stuff, it's awesome and she's great and we just love her. So thank you for going the extra mile to leave that review.
That's right. Thank you. We always love a good review. And thank you so much for the support. Fan favorite.
Yeah, we love it. Thank you so much.
And thank you all, because there's lots of you out there. And again, like I say to my students, we'll get to you next.
That's right. So if you guys want to be as cool as Judy, you can rate and review us and subscribe on Apple, or tell your friends where to listen to us. Word of mouth is how I hear about all my podcasts.
Please tell your friends.
Yes, and you can send in your own ghost stories or just a message if you just want to send us. You don't have a ghost story.
We like to just hear that you listened.
Yeah, right, because our egos, we demand it. So send us your emails at myskepticalsister@gmail.com. And
have a great night.
Yeah, thanks guys. Bye.
La 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 la.